Hello and welcome back again, Coffee Beans. This is Agricultural Structures and Building Constructions. Definition of terms. A and B. Abattoir, a slaughterhouse. ACA, abbreviation for ammoniacal copper arsenate. A waterborne wood preservative, activated sludge process. A biological wastewater treatment process in which a mixture of wastewater and biological solids or activated sludge is agitated and aerated. The activated sludge is subsequently separated from the treated wastewater, mixed liquor, by sedimentation and wasted and returned to the process as needed. Admixture. It is a material other than Portland cement aggregate, or water added to concrete to modify its properties. Aeration unit. A tank or lagoon in which sludge, wastewater or other liquid is aerated. Aerators. A device which brings about aeration of liquid and highly manure for the purpose of accelerating aerobic decomposition. Aerobic lagoon, sea lagoon and oxidation pond. Aggregates. The materials held together by the paste formed of cement and water are the aggregates. It is inert materials, natural sand, crushed stone, pebbles, cinders, and slag. Aggregation. The process by which particles formed naturally of artificially and including such particles as crumbs, granules, clods, fecal pellets, fragments of fecal pellets and concretions. Agricultural alarm system. A fixed installation alarm system that is utilized in an agricultural structure. Agricultural building structure. A shelter from farm animals or crops, or when incidental to agricultural production. A shelter from processing or storing products of farm animals or crops, or storing or repairing agricultural equipments and implements. Air change ratio. Ratio of the volume of air that enters a room to the volume of air of the empty room. Air circulation. The process of moving or mixing air within a greenhouse to control temperature. Humidity and carbon dioxide distribution. Air conditioning is the simultaneous control of temperature, humidity, air motion, air distribution, ventilation and purity of atmosphere in a confined space. Air-cooled, or direct cooling system. System wherein air is used to remove heat from the engine through metal fins or shrouds which are located around the cylinder, thus creating the flow of air to the engine body in order to maintain its operating temperature. Air distribution or circulation. Pattern of air movement in a livestock building. Air-dried. A condition of dryness of lumber or other wood products that have been dried by exposure to prevailing atmospheric conditions. Outdoors or in an unheated shed. Air pressure manure transfer system. A manure transfer system utilizes a collection tank which is pressurized after filling, causing the collected manure to move into and through the pipeline. Agitation. The turbulent mixing of liquid and solids. Agitation equipment. Slurry and thin slurry manure handling equipment whose primary purpose is to agitate manure in storage and convert it into a homogeneous slurry. Agitation pumps. Manure pump which agitate by recirculating manure slurry, pumping it back into the manure storage either above or under the manure surface. Aggregate refers to the inert material, which is mixed with Portland cement and water to produce concrete. All-in, all-out system. Management system in which room is filled or emptied of livestock all at once. Allowable stress. It is the maximum unit stress considered desirable for design calculations, considering the characteristics of the material, the type of structure, the degree of exposure to deterioration, etc. Emonification. The biochemical process whereby ammoniacal nitrogen is released from nitrogen-containing organic compounds. Anaerobic decomposition. The decay of organism matter by microorganisms in the absence of oxygen. Anaerobic digestion. Conversion of organic matter in the absence of oxygen under controlled conditions to gases such as methane and carbon dioxide. Anchorage. A device for anchoring a building or object subjected to uplift force. Appurtenances. Valves, piping, pumps, liquid level sight gauge, metering device or any devices connected to a storage container that come in contact with the product of the container. Apron slope. The slope of the apron or alley expressed away from the bunk. Arch. This type is used where high-rise and floor spaces free of obstruction are desired. Its more frequent use on frames is to provide large hay storage space over dairy stables and storage space in machinery sheds and similar structures. In two-story construction, the arch may be supported on the wall plate at the second floor level, or it may be continuous from crown to foundation wall with the arch ribs serving as studding in the sidewalls. Arch roof is also known as Gothic roof. Prefabrication of laminated arched rafters has made the construction of arched roofs simple and easy. Its uses are the same as for the gambrel roof. Ard foot is a unit of measure used in the computation of lumber. 1 ard foot is equivalent to 144 cubic inches or 1 square foot of lumber that is 1 meter thick. Asbestos, a heat-resistant and non-burning organic mineral. Asphalt, a brown-black bituminous substance found naturally or as a residue in petroleum refining. Backfill, layer of compacted soil and gravel to support the digester wall. Backflow prevention device, a safety device used to prevent water pollution or contamination by preventing flow of a mixture of water and/or chemicals in the opposite direction of that intended. Back-out stall, type of stall where animals must back up to exit the stall. Backwash, a procedure that flushes clean water through a filter tank in reverse direction to the normal operating direction so as to remove captured organic and inorganic particulate from the filter media. Baffle, usually flat plate for deflecting, retarding or regulating the flow of fluids or light, as in an adjustable ventilation air inlet. Vanes, guides, grids, grating, or similar devices placed in a conduit to regulate water flow, effect a more uniform distribution of velocities, reduce pressure losses, deflect or create mixing, used to redistribute heat, to redirect flow of exhaust gases so they can be better used. They are usually in the form of a mound or a step in the tunnel. Baffle board, division in the digester that prevent the slurry from premature exit into the sludge outlet tank. Baffle board, division in the digester that prevent the slurry from premature exit into the sludge outlet tank. Balanced design is a design for reinforced concrete beam that will cause the limiting stresses in the concrete and steel bars to be reached simultaneously, causing them to fail at the same time. Balloon type, plant consisting of a heat-sealed plastic or rubber bag balloon, combining digester and gas holder. Balustrade, a series or row of balusters joined by a handrail or a coping as the parapet of a balcony. Baluster is a small post supporting the handrail or a coping. Barn is an enclosed covered building for the keeping and care of livestock and/or storage of roughage. Barnyard, outdoor pen area adjoining the barn used for livestock. Barrel checking, checks that originate from the pith towards the bark portion found in logs and lumber which develop into a V-shaped split. Bastard sawn, lumber, primarily hardwoods, in which the annual growth rings make angles of 30 to 60 in the surface of the piece. Barn, roofed shelter for livestock, usually with at least one wall closed. Barnyard, outdoor pen area adjoining the barn used for livestock. Barrier, a guard such as a rail, fence, frame, or the like. Bad insulation, fibrous insulation material packaged in bales and sized to fit between building framing members. Bay, one of the intervals or spaces into which a building is divided by main frames. Columns, piers or cross partitions. Beam, a large, long piece of timber or other material placed horizontally to provide vertical support in a building. Beam and post, this type of framing is suitable for multi-story poultry houses and other types of dwellings. The essential beams and post members may have to be supplemented with diagonal bracing members, where low construction cost is important. A variation known as the pole frame is used. In it, the concrete pedestal is omitted and the post or pole is extended directly into the ground. Bearing, the point of support on a post, beam, wall, or other structural member. Bedded area, livestock resting area which is covered with bedding. A dry absorptive material. Bedding boards, material embedded part way into the stall base directly under and parallel to the stall partition. Bedding keeper, a board or pipe along the rear of the stall to help retain bedding in the stall. Biochemical oxygen demand (BOD), the quality of oxygen used in the biochemical oxidation of organic matter in a specified time, at a specified temperature, and under specified conditions. Biogas, gaseous product of anaerobic digestion that consists primarily of methane and carbon dioxide. Fixed type biogas, a biogas plant with closed digester with an immovable, rigid gas chamber and a displacement pit. Floating type biogas, a biogas plant consisting of digester and a moving, floating gas holder that either float directly in the fermenting slurry or in a separate water jacket. Integrated plant biogas, a biogas plant where the digester and gas chamber form one unit. Multi-digester plant biogas, a biogas plant with series of digesters. Split-type plant biogas, a digester and gas chamber form separate units. Biogas plant, plant used to process animal waste or manure to produce biogas and sludge consisting of an inlet mixing tank. Digester, gas chamber and outlet sludge tank. Biological oxidation, the process whereby living organisms convert organic matter into a less complex or a mineral form. Biological wastewater treatment, forms of wastewater treatment in which bacterial or biochemical action is intensified to stabilize or oxidize the unstable organic matter present. Bird screen, mesh, usually wire placed over a building opening to prevent bird access. Black water, water containing liquid and solid human body waste generated through toilet usage. Blanket insulation, fibrous insulation material packaged in rolls and sized to fit between framing members. Block body, hypothetical body capable of absorbing all radiation at the maximum rate for a given temperature. Blocking gate, gate in which chute to stop and/or control traffic animal. Board, lumber that is less than 2 inches thick and 1 or more than 2 inches wide, board less than 6 inches wide are sometimes called strips. Board base, Constructed so agricultural machinery may be operated safely on the entire cross-section. Board foot. It is the unit of measurement of lumber. It is 1 foot long, 12 inches wide, and 1 inch thick, or its equivalent. The formula for determining board feet in a board is thickness in inches times width in inches times length in feet divided by 12. Bottom rail height. The vertical distance from the top of the curb to the lowest horizontal member of the partition. Bow or hoop. Pipe or tubing framework shape used to support the glazing. Bow. The distortion in a board that deviates from flatness lengthwise but not across its faces. Boxed heart. The term used when the pith falls entirely within the 4 faces of a piece of wood anywhere in its length. Also called boxed pith. Box type. A device with a horizontal floor, vertical side walls, or vertical or slanted front or rear wall. Box stall. Relatively large enclosed space which permits full movement of livestock, often used with horses. Braces or bracing. Angular. Interior wall and roof framing members which provide rigidity and strength to a building framework. Breeding crate. Device for holding sow used to facilitate aiding. Breeding gestation unit. Housing livestock during breeding and pregnancy, usually swine. Breeding track. Device to support the weight of the front half of a large adult male animal when breeding smaller female. Bridging is the process of connecting one joint to another. Building. Roofed and walled structure constructed for permanent use. Building code. Guidelines, specifications written and published by inter-industry group that is adopted by local government for minimum safety and adequacy of buildings constructed in their jurisdiction. Building diaphragm stiffness. The stiffness of the entire roof diaphragm assembly. Hope it helps. Thank you again for listening. Please like, subscribe and comment your suggestion on topics you want to hear. Links of previous topics are stated in the description box below. See you in the next part. Bye. Rar.